Good evening. I'd like to call the Winterville Town Council meeting to order. Today is Monday, October the 14th, 2024, and the time is now 6:01. Our invocation tonight will be given by Councilwoman Dr. Brandy Harrell, and after the invocation, we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
If everyone could bow their heads. Father, thank you for this time together. Thank you for just being able to bring us together in unity in times of chaos. Thank you for clarity of thought with this town council. Thank you for the people that show up and the people that aspire to be here. Thank you for our staff. Thank you for continuing to keep us safe, Father. In your name, amen.
Amen. If you could all stand, face the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening. My name is Ricky Hines. I'm the mayor here, town of Winterville. I'd like to just welcome everybody out tonight. And also, too, I'd like to welcome our county commissioner chair, Mr. Mark Smith, that's in attendance with us tonight. I don't see any other dignitaries out. But again, thank you for being here with us. Next up, we will have our roll call by our town manager.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I believe Evan is assisting us this evening with our voting software. And so if you will use your remotes to indicate your presence, that will be appreciated. Mayor, all in.
Thank you. Next up is the approval of the agenda. We have a change tonight under other agenda items. If we could move the mental health awareness down to make it number 5.
Yes, sir. In addition to that, there are a few others, and
Okay.
so that's why it's denoted as version 2. But yes, Councilwoman Hawkins, I think that was just an oversight on our part, so thank you.
5.
Yes, sir.
The item number 5 on the other agenda. And I think everyone received the amended version of the agenda here at the, up here. Is there any other things, Madam Manager?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I was just asking about a request that was made.
Okay.
And it's on the agenda.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. All right, if there is no other items that needs to be corrected, can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moy, second by Councilwoman Smith. Any discussion? If none, please use your software to vote, please. Motion carried. Thank you, y'all. Next up will be done with our proclamations, please.
Yes, Mayor. We have several proclamations tonight. First being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is an annual campaign to increase awareness of this disease, and while we have seen an increase in mammography rates and a decline in deaths, there is more that can be done. And whereas the American Cancer Society continues to advise women to get an annual mammogram screening once they reach the age of 40, and whereas throughout the month of October, all women are encouraged to make a renewed commitment to following recommended screening guidelines and to make a mammogram appointment. And whereas the town of Winterville stands in solidarity with the mothers, sisters, wives, daughters, friends, neighbors, and others who are battling this disease. And whereas pink ribbons have become an internationally recognized symbol of courage, support, and a symbol of hope for breast cancer cure. Whereas the town of Winterville recognizes the importance of working together in supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And now therefore, I, Richard E. Hines, Mayor of the town of Winterville, hereby proclaim October 2024 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In witness whereof I do set my hand and cause the seal of Winterville to be affixed this 14th day of October 2024. Our next proclamation is on Fire Prevention 2024. Whereas the town of Winterville is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our town, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally, statewide, and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. Whereas home fires killed more than 2,700 people in the United States in 2022, according to the National Fire Protection Association. And fire departments in the United States responded to over 360,000 home fires. And whereas roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or with no working smoke alarms. Working smoke alarm cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half. And smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of a fire in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And whereas Winterville residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each sleeping area, on every level of the home, and make sure their smoke alarms meet the needs of all of their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities, and test smoke alarms at least once a month. Whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas Winterville's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2024 fire prevention theme, smoke alarms, make them work for you. Now, therefore, I, Richard E. Hines, Mayor of the town of Winterville, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Fire Prevention Month throughout the town and urge all citizens of Winterville to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Winterville Fire Rescue EMS Department. In witness whereof, I do set my hand and cause the seal of Winterville to be affixed this 14th day of October 2024. And the final proclamation is Indigenous Peoples' Day. Whereas in doing so, we proclaim today as Indigenous Peoples' Day, we reflect on the vibrant cultural diversity and tenacity of Indigenous peoples who now call North Carolina home, including those who originate from and maintain deep relationship with these lands and waters, those who are relocated here from their sacred homelands by federal policies, and those who have crossed oceans and borders with hope in the ability to find economic stability, community, and safety in these lands of opportunity. Whereas in recent years, we have experienced a global effort to disentangle the harmful legacies of historical violence and extraction and restore the beneficial legacies of indigenous balance, sustainability, and reciprocity. This includes a growing understanding of how the doctrine of discovery was called on historically to justify the expropriation of indigenous lands, subjugation of indigenous peoples, a legacy that has also been linked to the worsening of climate change and other environmental harms. Whereas increasingly we are turning to indigenous people in the existential imperative to restore balance, weather climate impacts, and preserve biodiversity. North Carolina, along with leaders from across the globe, will meet to discuss the need to respect, preserve, and maintain the knowledge, innovations, and practice of indigenous peoples in the race to halt and reverse biodiversity loss. Whereas, as we look forward a future in which we continue to support these practices while also bolstering indigenous language learning and revitalization, uplifting indigenous sports in mainstream spaces, spotlighting indigenous arts, and infusing governance with indigenous values, we are excited for the chance to demonstrate this work. Whereas today we are reminded of the forces of violence, displacement, and oppression that tried and failed to eradicate indigenous communities, we call on all to find meaningful opportunity to uplift, validate, and engage with indigenous peoples and cultures on a global scale. Now therefore, I, Richard E. Hines, Mayor of the town of Winterville, hereby proclaim today as Indigenous Peoples' Day. Now therefore, in witness whereof, I do set my hand, cause the seal of Winterville to be affixed this 14th day of October, 2024.
Thank you, Don, for going through all the proclamations. As you can hear, Breast Cancer, Fire Prevention, and Indigenous People Day. So we really appreciate that. Next up is public comment section, and before we go into that, I'm gonna read our public comment blurb here. A public comment period of 30 minutes provide an opportunity for residents to comment on any item included in the agenda or to address the town council on any other matter related to the town of Winterville. For an item included in the public hearing section of the agenda, residents should address the council at the time the mayor invites the public comments on the item. No public comments may be made to the council during the meeting except during the public comment period or as part of the public hearing. Individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and no more than 3 speakers may address the council on a single matter. The town council may elect to take no action on the matter addressed by a speaker, may schedule the matter for further consideration at a future council meeting, or may refer the matter to the town staff for disposition. Copies of the town public comment policies are available in the rear of the assembly room. And tonight, the first one up, I don't see him, but I want to make sure to call his name. Mr. Tucker Moore. Is Mr. Tucker Moore here with us tonight? Okay, all right. And next up, we have Mr. Gregory James. Mr. Gregory James here. Okay, could you please step to the thing, and you have 3 minutes, state your name and your address when you're over there, please.
Okay, my name's Gregory James, address 252 Cooper Street. And I have a concern about the animal services in the town of Winterville. When you look at the website, it shows that there are animal services. However, about 2 months ago, when my dog got loose and I called animal control, they told me that they could not set up a trap in the town of Winterville. When I called the town of Winterville, they told me that they no longer do animal control services. We have 3 or 4 kennels down the street, but they're not being used. And I was told that they discontinued that service during COVID. I addressed the mayor and the town manager in an email with some concerns where, you know, when I lost the dog, I set up some lost dog signs with my phone number for people for the community to help. And the signs were removed almost instantly, like within 2 days. You know, I'd put the signs up on the weekend, and by Tuesday, the signs would be removed. And I did again the following weekend, and I probably spent $100 worth of signs and hundreds of signs, and the town would continue to remove them, or whoever's removing them, but every single sign would be removed. Yet I would see liquor bottles in the bushes that, you know, they're untouched. So it almost seems like, you know, I'm fighting a battle that I can't win. And I think if those signs would have been up, I was receiving phone calls the first week during the Watermelon Festival. You know, nobody was concerned about removing my signs. But as soon as the Watermelon Festival finished, the signs were removed. And now Tilly's still missing, and I'd just like for the town's help, instead of working against your residents, to kind of try to work with them. So, and also when you get an email, maybe acknowledge the email. I know you can't address everything right away, or you can't comment, but I didn't get any response acknowledging the email that I sent on September 19th. So,
Mr. James, I did
Yes.
respond to that email, so if you didn't receive it, I'll
Okay.
look into why
Okay.
you didn't receive it, but I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it in detail.
thank you. I'll check my filter.
Okay.
Sometimes it gets, but
And if not, let me know, but
Okay.
regardless, I'd
Yeah.
love to talk to you.
But we do need animal control, even the cat population. I mean, if the town doesn't allow the county to trap the cats and for the services to spay and neuter these pets, we're gonna have a problem.
Just as a quick update, we're in current conversations with the county. I have an upcoming meeting with the county manager just to get a status update on that, so to try to look at contracting for those services.
Okay,
Don't know where that stands currently, but we'll be letting the citizens know once we know.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, and in your email to me, it was actually forwarded
Yes.
to Terry,
Okay,
so that's
Yes.
why
all right. Yeah, I understand.
you was getting a response from her,
Okay.
not from me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you
I look
so
forward to the
much.
update. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
I do have a question. Do we know exactly who was removing his signs?
I'm going to guess it was our staff, as is policy, but we'll be glad to try to look at alternate ways maybe to get the
Yeah.
word out, and be
Yeah.
glad to talk with Mr. James and then Warren General. But I'm assuming these were on signposts and telephone poles and
Yeah,
probably.
telephone poles and
Okay.
stop signs mainly.
Okay. But we'll definitely take a look at that, and I'll talk with Mr. James further.
Okay, so to let everybody be aware that if you do place a sign out for something missing, or even if you're advertising something, there is some guidelines behind this?
Yes, and we would be happy to talk about appropriate places to put some of these. We face an ongoing battle with, this is certainly not a comparison to your situation, yard sale signs, just a plethora of different kinds of signs. But having been through one of these circumstances myself, I have some suggestions, but we can certainly talk about
Yeah.
it.
I mean, within a couple of weeks, I probably could have caught her if there weren't so many restrictions within the town.
I'm so sorry that
Okay.
your dog's still missing.
Well, I appreciate
Yes,
it.
we are.
Could these be posted on Nextdoor? Because we're constantly.
I've done
Nextdoor.
everything. It's,
I mean, the guidelines for signs.
Yeah.
and
let's not, maybe amend the guidelines. I mean, a lost pet, I mean, the sign would be removed within a week if you would let them stay up for a week and people to track the missing pet. So,
Definitely take a look at
Yeah,
all of the above.
yeah,
I think
thank
we
you.
do need to take a look at it because,
Yes.
like you said, possibly, yeah, could be removed, but what happens is, just like right now, we're in the midst of election season.
Mhm.
And after election season, we still see signs, we see signs, we see signs, even after that is gone. So, I mean, if we don't put a policy in place, people don't want to follow it. I mean, and no offense to you losing your animal, or, because it's like an extension of your family, which I understand that, but
Yeah.
we still got to make sure that we follow some type of
Yeah.
policy.
But even with political signs, they're allowed to stay up for months leading to the election. I mean, a lost animal, it could,
I'm just trying
yeah,
to put
I
that out there.
understand. Yeah, it's not a yard sale sign, it's
Right.
not advertising mattresses or anything, it's,
Right. But one thing leads to another, so that's
Okay.
what I'm trying to
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. James, Mr. James,
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know that we are working to get a all-call alert system that I am hoping that will be activated pretty soon. And in that event, when your animal is missing or there's some sort of alert that people need to look out for, this could be a helpful tool. So please keep that in mind, and I will keep you updated on it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate all the efforts.
Okay. Next up is Miss Valerie Tyson. State your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Tyson. I live at 225 Boyd Street. And my concern tonight is just a question. What steps do we need to take as far as Good Hope Free Will Baptist Church? There's a ditch behind it, and the church itself is going down.
Excuse
because
me
of-
for 1 second, Ms.
Yes.
Tyson. Clark.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I just want to know, what is it that we, as a church body, need? Is there something we need to do as far as getting this into action? I understand that you have approached this before, but the problem still remains. Our walls are cracking. The educational center will be closing soon due to that ditch that's located behind the church. And we just want to know, is there something that we need to do to get to you to see about fixing this ditch? And if so, give us the paperwork so we can do it and then give it back to you so you can go ahead and rectify the problem.
Glad to speak to that.
Okay.
Ms. Tyson, this issue, Noble Canal, is, I assume is what you're referring to.
Mhm.
I've been here 15 years, and I started hitting the ground running on that subject, and I know it predates me. So it's been around a really long time. It's still on the table, but it's tied into a larger stormwater project. There are certain things we cannot do with that ditch, and be glad to talk offline about those things. But we can't tile it.
Okay.
We do maintain it, but I can let you know kind of what is planned if and when in the near future. And I say if, because I don't exactly know what the time frame will be, but what the plans are for that. Now, how that affects the church and the things that people have said about what it's done to the church, I just quite frankly don't know, because there are conflicting reports as to how it has affected the church. And I'm talking about engineering reports, but I'll just say this, that I'll certainly make sure that we put your comments in our rather large file on the subject and let you know once we know for sure when something's gonna happen.
Okay.
Is this the Blue Line Stream?
Yes.
if I'm
It's the
correct?
Blue Line Stream, yeah, I
Yes.
do know
Yeah.
that.
And we have put down some Anthony or Cliff, some riff wrap or whatever you call it.
I don't know the.
Matting, screening or something
I don't know.
back there.
I don't know anything about that.
I think that it would be a good idea if we could get maybe a group of members from the whole leadership team, meet with some of the town officials and talk about, so everybody would be on the same page. I think that's been one of the difficulties that we've had. We've had the people down in, the people from what, Soil and Water?
Yes.
We've had,
We had folks down in the ditch. We've had people looking at the sides of the ditch. We've had historical folks like me who've been around forever, talking about the ditch and the things we remember about the ditch and its effect on the church and everything. And maybe from that meeting, that would, everybody would come out with the same understanding.
And I would like to add also, what our Councilwoman Robinson stated that not only on this level, we have had visitors to come out to look at that ditch above us. I'm talking about on the federal side.
Sure.
And they have did extended research and we, like our manager said, one report says that, you know, it was one thing, then another report was saying another. So, but the federal government has the last say so because it is a federal type setting that Blue Line Stream is.
So, my question is it something that we as the church body need to do as far as presenting paperwork or anything like that? No?
no, ma'am.
But I think you all need to be, have a
Come
good
together.
understanding, and you can coordinate that through our town manager, and meet with our town manager and our, public works.
Okay, so I'll go back and then we'll
See if you could
call.
get together a meeting, and all of them come together, and they explain all that stuff,
be glad to.
because it's been a lot of stuff, you know that.
And folks have changed, right? So we've
Yes.
met with previous groups, but I realized just like everything else, groups are living beings, so there are changes, and I'm happy to meet with the leadership team with the
Okay.
church currently. So
Okay,
just let me know if you want me to reach out to you. You'll be glad to work for
Please
you,
do.
or just let me know who the appropriate.
okay. Once I have a meeting with the church, I'll get in contact with you.
Sounds good.
And I'd
Okay.
like to say, I think it would be a great idea if we would go ahead on and revisit again. Just like the manager said, you know, during that period of time, there were certain groups that was, that represented the federal level. But now you got a different one. So maybe that, you know, we submit everything again. We have to.
I
we
think
can't-
that's been pretty,
pretty-
those decisions are, in terms of tiling, things that the Army Corps of Engineers looked at, all of that, that's pretty firm.
What about the states and all of that?
State has not been willing to take the Blue Line
No,
Stream.
no, ma'am, I'm talking about putting stakes
Oh,
to help
We
this
ha- we-
erosion.
we have looked at, Cliff may speak to that.
So we have been out there and put riprap, at the end, you know, the road dead ends, it'll undermine under the asphalt sometimes. We fixed that just about 6 months ago, touched that up. I met with the pastor out there a couple of times. We talked about the tile running internal of the property. We fixed some sinkholes out there. We talked about the daycare at the time. There are some undermining issues, not coming from the ditch. It's something internal of the property. They have pipes coming out from under the daycare. Not sure what all that's draining or what it's supposed to be doing, so I spoke to him about those things. So we've been in touch and discussed it a few times.
Well, and it's just, and it would be good to meet with the church, because some of these discharges may have to change. So,
You mentioned sump pumps maybe, gutters, you know, things that are considered illicit discharges that aren't
Yes.
allowed. So when the federals, you know, if they get involved or we all meet, we can discuss all that. Thank you.
Thank you both.
thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Maddie DeJesus. Please state your
Hi.
name and address, please.
My name is Maddie D. Jesus. I live at that dangerous intersection, Mill and Boyd Street. And I noticed you read a proclamation about safety of people visiting our town as well as the people here. We are ranked as the 4th safest city, which is something to brag about. And I would like to see it fourth, continue to be the fourth. But according to the accidents out there in front of my house, it doesn't look like we're gonna be there long. Sunday, we had an awful accident out there. It was terrible, it was scary. There was blood this time, lots of blood, and it really frightened me. And I'm really concerned about that. That pedestrian sign is not doing any good. The traffic is constantly going and going and going on Mill Street. Nothing is telling them, slow down, stop, think, let the other people come through. Boyd Street has to rush out there to try to get out there. And then people think that Boyd Street is causing it, but it's not. It is Mill Street. I have it on flash drive. I would love for you all to see this. This speaks louder than words. It will show you that this young man is laying there bleeding almost to death. And then it shows also that door on the passenger side. It has a big dent in it. Something hard had it, and with a great force had to hit that car. I would like to see something done. Now, after I crossed that street, I tried to get back across. I couldn't, because the car was going zoom, zoom, zoom. I couldn't get back across. Officer Hamilton had to escort me back across. And I sure thank him for risking his life to escort me across. That stop sign, what you did, we asked for a 4-way stop sign, but what you did was, it's underestimating our intelligence. You put 4 stop signs. That does not mean 4-way stop. Well, my research says that a traffic light costs $150,000. So what? You got $400,000 grant. I'm not knocking that, because whoever wrote that grant has got a lot of brains. I applaud him for doing that. But the problem is, what I'm saying is, the money is out there. $400,000, you know how many traffic lights we could have got with that? Not saying use their 400. I know they got it for a special reason, but what about somebody write a grant for us?
Thank
And the
you.
state will be paying for this, right? And the
Thank you,
state
Ms.
got a
Maddie.
lot of money.
Your time is up. Thank you. Your time is up.
I'd like to speak to the comment that was just made. And I'd like to say that there was a near fatal accident Sunday. I've been speaking for some safety measures since January. These safety measures are essential. Our town is growing, and we need to make adjustments to the infrastructure that meets the needs. Unless you live on Mill Street and you see the speed, and/or unless there is a speedometer or a speed measurement apparatus put there to monitor the speed, then one cannot say how dangerous it is not. Back in August, Mr. Bowers shared that DOT had met and that they were prompted to put more safety measures there via a resolution. That was paused, and then last month we were asked to put these stop signs and bumpers. And I thought that and I asked for the minutes, which the minutes are still in process. And the premise was that we want to see how it goes. And as I shared, when you have fatalities or near fatalities, that cannot be measured, right? That is a big risk. I said we want safety rather than hasty. We don't want to slow down traffic with another 4-way stop sign, but we need something in place. And what is in place now is not okay. We wanted to see how it goes. We saw how it went on Sunday, and it was near fatal. And I think something needs to be done, and it needs to be done tonight. and I am prompted to make a motion. And in fact, after this discussion, I'm going to make a motion that there's either a traffic light or an all-way stop sign put at Boyd and Mill Street, or this will continue and it will be fatal next time. And that is something we cannot afford.
Can y'all please just hold your applause? We still have 2 more people that has signed up in the public comments. Thank you.
Comment.
Reason I'm saying there's other 2 people going to talk about
Yes,
this. Do you want to wait and do it all at one time, or you want to speak now? I didn't know if you want to hear them. And then you can make.
you talking about on the same subject?
On the same subject.
Yes.
Right, that's
Oh,
what I was
yes.
going to say.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you can, unless you want to go ahead and.
No,
speak.
that's the right thing to do.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Next up is Danny Smith. I wasn't good.
Good evening,
State your name and
esteemed
address.
city council and officials. My name is Danny C. Smith of 2451 Mill Street, 2 doors down from that problematic intersection known as Mill and Boyd Street. You know, beating a dead horse really don't accomplish very much. However, reiterating and explaining to a point of fact is very much necessary in cases when you don't seem to be being heard. Now, I, for one, do not believe that an oncology problem can be solved with the Band-Aid. We know that difficult measures require, as the esteemed council lady mentioned, immediate attention. We don't believe in procrastination when lives are on the line. The things that have happened at that intersection will not stop by themselves. They're not going to solve them. Problems don't normally solve themselves anyway. I learned that in over 30 years of education and also being a man who believes in God Almighty. God has his time, he has his methodologies, and God will have his way. I know for one, I don't want to be complicit with anyone's harm, danger, or death because of that intersection not be given its due service and correction. So now I don't want to get beyond my 3 minutes because I believe in compliance with rules and regulations. But I will say once again, please, please, at your very earliest convenience. I heard the esteemed council lady say, well, she was going to make a motion tonight. Let's take in consideration the health and well-being of our motorized constituency as well as our pedestrians. Thank you so very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Next up, we have Teresa Williams. Did I pronounce that right? Pull down the mic, yeah, you can pull that out, yes ma'am. State your name and address.
My name is Teresa Williams, and I live at 712 Patton Circle, Winterville. But I travel through Mill Street a whole lot. And there have been a couple of times that I have came by and the traffic would be flying, and I mean, it was almost one time that I almost got hit, but that was before all of this, before they put the signs that's there now, in which I personally feel like the signs that they have, the one that's coming from off of this, in the back there, there's like only 2 signs, and my thing is the people that's coming from, that's coming from, in the, area up by Walmart and heading in the direction of Mill Street, how's the other people supposed to be able to get out? Because that traffic just goes totally straight, and the, roads that's facing one another, those are the one that has the signs. And I mean, I'm always frightened when I go by there, until I now have started going a different way when I go home. And I have seen, you know, because Maddie, she is my aunt, and I mean, she have called me many a time frightened where accidents have happened right there at her house. And, you know, she always keep a pretty yard, and things have gotten torn up from accidents and stuff. And I mean, I just feel it's very unsafe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. That was the last of our public hearing. Now, Mr. Moy, if I think you will speak to.
Yes, I would like to say that on Sunday afternoon, I did, just so happened coming from church, I drove up to the accident and stopped to make sure that everybody was okay. At that time, I think the rescue had already transported the ones that was involved into the accident. But the car, it was one car that it was left, and it was damaged pretty bad on the passenger side. I just hope and pray that nobody went on that passenger side on the damage that was made. But my point, my concern is, yes, a great concern. If we can see, I can't foresee a four-way stop sign there. A four-way stop sign there will, you talk about backing up all the way back up to Vernon White Road, then all the way back towards on Main Street, and then you got the red light, it would be a chaos. And then we're talking about the upgrade they're getting ready to do on Tar Road within a year's time. They're gonna have to reroute that traffic. And a lot of that traffic gonna come back this way because Tar Road gonna be completely closed. So I say this, I just asked my town manager what it would cost to put a stoplight there. What it would cost to put a stoplight there, if we can. I do know that, I think we addressed it on our last meeting at the MPO meeting. I think we had requested something like that before in our last meeting to the county, to the MPO group, and I understand that was the wrong time or the wrong place to talk about anything like that because that's not the meeting. So Anthony, what do you think we need to do? Because we need some help there, because like I said, the problem is going to increase, especially when they start that work on Tar Road. That traffic is going to come around this way off of Tar Road.
Yeah, so
let me say this, and I can see they begin to do, they're doing a roundabout on Coral Road.
Yes.
yes.
And see, they are preparing in advance to try to help with that traffic on Tar Road. I think that we need to do something also here in our town. Let's not just talking. I'm just concerned about, it could be me, it could be myself, my family, it can be my neighbor, it can be anybody or you. I don't want to see no one to get hurt or injured.
Yeah. We have certainly expressed the council's concerns to NCDOT. You know, this situation is both of those streets are NCDOT streets. They're not the town of Winterville. The cost for a signalized intersection, be very candid, I have not expensed one out. We're not in that business as far as the town goes. Historically, we have not installed any signalized intersections. We certainly you know, it's at the pleasure of the board to reach out to DOT and ask for anything, but, you know, the conversation I was having, you know, with NCDOT, I find it difficult to think that they would, and I don't want to speak for them, but based on the conversations I've had with them, I don't think that they will invest in a signalized intersection. However, that does not keep y'all from asking for it. That's just my understanding of, based on the conversation I've had. The next step would probably be the four-way stop. As far as from a safety perspective, we tried, I don't know, possibly give more time to the improvements that were made, possibly make it a four-way stop, or request a signalized intersection. But all those decisions are ultimately up to NCDOT, and they're gonna base that on traffic, the type of traffic accident, the severity of the accident, and the frequency of the accidents. So we can certainly, you know, communicate the concerns. There's nothing that precludes us from doing that. However, you know, based on the conversations I've had with NCDOT, you know, I feel like a signalized intersection might be, you know, it's probably not going to be a win for the town, I don't think. But you don't know unless you ask either, so.
So I have a question. In in July, we had a town meeting. You were the facilitator, Mr. Bowers. Town Manager Parker was not present.
August.
It was August. I apologize, in August. And based on from what I read, it was my understanding that DOT said that there was enough accidents or incidents to prompt them to be ready to place an always stop sign based on us making a resolution. And we were getting ready to make that resolution because DOT said that it was warranted. They said that back in August. They are certainly going to say it in October. And we don't want backed up traffic. But let's be realistic. This is not a highway, right? Mill Street is not a highway, and it is being used as a highway, right? We don't want our police officers to have to utilize all of their time stopping traffic. We want more interactions, not traffic infractions, right? That's what we don't want. We want community policing, and we don't want that to have to be their job. We want to put safety measures in place. And if DOT said that in August, what's the change? Because that accident Sunday was critical. It was very, very serious. The gentleman's head was bleeding profusely. His car was smashed. The lady's vehicle it was horrible. There needs to be something in place, and I'm prompted to act for. I know we don't want to always stop sign. We don't want war. We don't want a lot of things. It is what is needed. It is what is essential right now. And I'm speaking for what is essential. I might not be favorable, but that is not my job right now. My job is for what is needed. And if we walk away from here this evening without anything done, we don't need to feel like we are a council for what the people need. We need to be for what is needed. And unless you go out there and park out there and get you a beach chair, whatever you're gonna get, and watch this traffic and watch these potential accidents, we need to do something, and we need to do something tonight. And after the discussion, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion.
Excuse me. I travel board a lot, of course, like everybody else that comes across the street over there. But my concern, and this probably can be addressed to Miss Maddie, you have a lovely yard, but your yard is part of my problem, because if I look left, you have great bushes, but your bushes are a distraction. when you come up on that turn to look to your left, it's like, it's a blind. Because if you come up, you're stopping, and then you got to ease up even more to look to your left to see. If we want solutions, we all got to work to get these solutions, you know? So I'm just saying, to me, if you look to the left, and like I said, your yard is beautiful, but if you look to the left, it's a blind, and I'm in a, you know, I ain't talking about in a sports car, I'm in a pickup truck, so I'm sitting high, but still, when you ease up to the stop sign, and you're gonna either go across or either turn left. If you get in the turn lane, it's even worse, you know. But if you look to your left, there is a blind there. I don't know if DOT.
Yeah, DOT looked at sight triangles, and there were no obstructions within the sight triangles based on their current standards.
Okay. Right.
And then, Mayor, if I may, I don't know if there were any responding personnel. I don't know if that accident came from that direction, like coming from Boyd and going left. From my understanding, it was the opposite way. If somebody can clarify, it was not that way.
Council, Mr. Mayor. So the SUV ran the stop sign, so it doesn't matter if there was 12 of them there, he ran the stop sign. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He bounced his head off the side window. When it broke, it cut his forehead, and that's what all the blood was from. And that is what caused the accident. He then T-bowed a passing motorist going straight. So it was the motorist who ran the stop sign's fault.
And even still,
Yes.
that intersection is extremely dangerous.
I don't disagree with you.
It is extremely dangerous.
You asked about what happened at the crash.
Yeah, so can you please share what street he was coming from? Was he
So
coming
he was
on-
coming down Boyd Street like he left NC-11, coming
Okay.
down Boyd Street to either turn left or right on Mill Street or go straight across. I don't know what his intended travel was, but instead of stopping at the stop sign in Boyd and Mill Street, he went straight through it. His statement to the officer was he wasn't from around here, he didn't know there was a stop sign there. So he went straight through the stop sign, made contact with a passing motorist going northbound on Old 11, which is Mill Street, and T-boned that car, driving that car into the yard of the church at 11 and
Thank
Old
you.
11 and Boyd.
And what he said was he didn't see the stop sign.
That
What
was,
is he-
that was his statement to the officer, yes, ma'am. He said he wasn't from the area and he didn't realize the stop sign was there.
Thank you.
Good, thanks.
We all realize that this is a problem. We realize it's a problem that we're gonna have to go through NCDOT to get a resolution on. So, I'm in favor of it. I've almost had an accident there. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times I look almost. And I've almost had an accident there. Seems like the car came out of nowhere. But I'm glad I didn't. But I can understand the motorists that may have accidents there. And we have had quite a few accidents there. And Sunday, I think that, it was just, so much because of the fact that people out of the cars. But we do need to do something about that intersection.
Anthony, I do have a question. So as a council in agreement, I would assume, I hope, that we want to work in solutions. What is the next step as far as the resolution, as Councilwoman Hawkins said before we leave here tonight? Like, what is the next steps as far as what do we need to do regarding the resolution? And then also looking into purchasing, a stoplight or things of that nature. What are the next steps and how do we work this in solutions? Because we can listen to the problems all night and, our prayers are with folks that have been affected and have been hurt. But at this time, it's time to work in solutions. So how do we move forward? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, quite simply, I'd be glad to reach out to NCDOT. They have done basically all the studies they can do at the intersection as it is. I believe the next step, if there were to be additional changes, would be the four-way stop. And then possibly ask NCDOT to look into pricing the signalized intersection, and bring that, if they could bring that back to the town council to let them know what that cost would be. They didn't recommend it, so they would probably want to ask the town to pay for it, if I had to guess. But, I don't know that.
And I just wanted to clarify Ms. Maddie's comment about the grant that we received. I believe the grant you may have been talking about was related to our Parks and Rec department. So unfortunately, we couldn't use that money for a stoplight. I just wanted the public to be clear on that, so we didn't get a almost $500,000 grant for safety improvements to our roads. That was for Parks and Rec. I just wanted to be clear.
Anthony, I'm sorry, you want to go?
Well, I was just gonna say, the town has recently been awarded a Safe Streets for All grant, where we're gonna go in and do a study, an evaluation. It's, we'll receive $76,200 for the study, and then the town has a 20% match. So it'll be right at $100,000 roughly to look at the streets in town and sidewalks. And, that's about probably a year-long process, though. So you're looking for solutions tonight that'll be quicker. Y'all may recall the council approved applying for that grant several months ago. We went through the process. The grant, I was going to update you later on in my quarterly report tonight on that, but we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. So that SS4A grant we did receive, and then the next round, once that action plan has been put in place, we'll start taking that action plan and looking for grants that fit. So the thing about grants is you don't want to just, throw as much mud at the wall and see what sticks. You want to isolate the grant that you're most likely to be successful at, and then target that grant and put your resources into the grant that most likely will apply to us. So there are things moving in that direction when it comes to grant and funding.
I think council asked a question that Anthony's answered, but I do want to reiterate, if you want to do something tonight, I think your fastest response is to request a four-way stop.
Yes.
It would be nice if we had the land to put a roundabout. I said if we had land.
Yes, I think there's not enough land for.
I don't think it's not enough land,
that.
but if it was, a roundabout would be nice there. That'll slow traffic down, but also keep traffic moving as well.
Mayor, sorry, Mr. Ronnie. So may I ask this, why would we go to the four-way stop when several people have expressed concerns about traffic backing up and causing more issue? Why would we not direct staff to draft a resolution to ask for signal lights in light of the recent vehicular accident? All they can do is say no, if that's, everybody, and nobody is against safety, but we have to do what's the best for the town overall. We also have to realize these are both state-maintained roads, and we have limited ability, and we don't have the funds. And if we should take over starting to maintain them, they may give them to us, and then we may be in a serious financial situation.
They've stated on numerous occasions they'll be glad to give us any street.
Correct, and we do that.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, and if that is the way that this council is moving, I would just assume that we ask for signal lights and make them tell us no. Because I do see four-way stops can cause further issue with the backing up of traffic and all, as Councilman Moy said, with what's going to happen on Old Tar, and if we're stopping traffic throughout, people are going to be impatient. And four-way stops could potentially cause more issue down the way.
I don't know the traffic counts off the top of my head, but we do have two NCDOT streets, Mill Street and Main Street, that is signalized. So I don't know if the traffic count over there, matches what's going on Main Street. It may be more, maybe less, I'm not sure. But if they're in the same arena, you would think that if one warranted a signalized intersection, the other would. So that may be something we can look at the data and see if it bolsters our, you know, desire to have improvements there.
So again, I'm not sure why we're back to the four-way stop, why we wouldn't ask and make them reject us.
So at this time, is it appropriate, Attorney King, to make a motion to have a resolution drafted for a signal light for Boyd and Mill Street? Is that appropriate at this time?
Yes, ma'am. It's whenever you'd like to make the motion. I guess as long as the discussion's been had, make the motion and then decide what motion you want to make.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we draft a resolution to NCDOT in favor of signalized stops at Boyd and Mill Street.
Respectfully, Dr. Harrell, I was continued in the discussion, and I want to go back to your motion. But it was from my understanding, what I recall in the discussion tonight, when we were talking about safety measures, the street sign, the traffic light, it was said that it would be too expensive, and that is why it wasn't asked for. So that is where we went to four-way stop sign, because initially we could have went right on for the traffic light, right? That is what we want. We want a traffic light, but from my notes, we didn't know how much the cost would be and MPO, and it was a long discussion about that. So now we circle back, and if we're okay to make a motion for the resolution for a stop sign, I'm all for it. That's what we need to move on.
So I'd like to second.
Hold on. We have a motion and a second. The motion was made by Dr. Harrell, second by Councilwoman Smith, okay, for a resolution for a stop light. A resolution for a stoplight.
Signalized intersection.
Yes.
Signalized intersection.
Yes.
Okay. All right, signalized intersection. Now, is there any discussion before we vote?
Yes.
If we have discussions, we'll start with you. You want to start with Councilwoman Hawkins? Or do you have anything?
Let's make clarification, because we're saying stop light, signalized. Talk to me. Stop, is that the same thing? Somebody educate me.
Right, I mean, you could, I mean, there are different signalized intersections, of course, like some are just always red, flashing red, which means basically a four-way stop essentially. Or you could have a full signalized intersection that's gonna control traffic based on traffic patterns and
Red,
time of
yellow,
days,
green.
and it's gonna be programmed to have,
what we
you know, to handle traffic flow. So it would probably most likely be synchronized with the, you know, the other one, since the city of Greenville manages that. So if they could synchronize those stoplights, that would help with some of the concerns about the flow of traffic on Mill Street. But all that would, honestly, I can't speak for NCDOT on it specifically. I mean, that's just what I know, and I'll be glad to present it in, you know, but I feel like that would be the case.
One last question, because I don't want to skip by and then come back with questions after a resolution is made. Once a resolution is made to DOT, is there any prospective timetable? Are they getting back to us in 6 months, 3 months, a year? Because we need something, and we're putting a resolution in, but what happens after that?
Yeah, I
And that
mean,
is
they
the
have been
purpose of-
responsive for most part. Every time we've asked for something, they've had an answer before the next meeting.
Perfection.
So,
Thank you.
I mean, I've been able to report back to the board at the next meeting.
Thank you.
And as far as expense. Okay, excuse me.
Hold on. Mr. Moore. Ms. Hawkins, Councilwoman Hawkins.
I'm
Are you
perfectly
finished?
fine with the
All right.
clarification.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now, Mr. Moore, and then,
I will yield to Ms. Robinson.
all right, Ms. Robinson.
As far as NCDOT saying something's too expensive, Boyd Street for 15 years was too expensive. And now we have that nice entranceway to our town. But if we had not kept it on the list and kept it up in the priorities, we would not have gotten that street. We got curb, gutter, and everything up there. So I wouldn't discount the idea as far as expense. Money and lives, no problem.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Chief Williams for that report that he gave. And to say that the person that was involved into the accident didn't live here, wasn't aware of it. The stop sign, sometimes unless you are a regular like I am, I know that stop sign is there, and I know how the traffic moves. But ones that does not live here, that's the ones that you're gonna have to alert. And to alert them is, the right thing would be for a light to go up there. Because if he had a light, I do believe that he would have seen it, unless he was otherwise didn't want to stop at all. You know.
So do I need to clarify my motion when I said signalized stop light, meaning red, yellow, green? Do I need to clarify that, Anthony?
I believe a signalized intersection would include that.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I think you would just take the word stop out, just signalized intersection.
Okay, signalized intersection, red, yellow, green. That's what I'm thinking.
Could, now, if there's no other discussion, anybody else?
Oh, one more thing I do that, and I'll leave it alone.
Yes, sir.
And if they said no right on the spot, we need to know what the price is, what it would cost, and what they're allowed to town. I don't want to. I know you know how to handle that business, but I definitely would like to know what the cost would be.
Okay. Now, if you all go to your electronic motion carry to do a resolution to Department of Transportation. Thank you all for great spirited discussion. And, hopefully we get something to come out of this for the citizens. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion made by Dr. Brandon Harrell, second by Councilwoman Robinson. Any discussion before we move on for consent? If none, sir? Do you have anything? Okay, all right. If you could use your voting. Motion carry. All right. Next up is old business, and we'll turn that over to town manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I am handing out, I call this a schematic. I'm not sure if that's the right terminology, but back some time ago, and it was earlier than mid-2023, if you don't have enough copies, let me know. The subject was brought up of the North Winterville Cemetery sign and its current location off a fire tower. It's difficult to see by passing traffic. The first time, or the first couple times it was discussed, staff went back and tried to take a look at possible ways to add to the sign so that it was better seen from the road. To completely dismantle that sign and to build it back and raise it up is fairly costly, and that sign is not terribly old. So what you see before you tonight is what staff had originally put together and passed out to council. And council did not vote on this, but as you'll see, it's adding a taller sign to the existing sign so that passing traffic can see it, and add some solar type lighting or some lighting in and around the sign so it can be illuminated and seen at night. Council, as I recall, was supposed to kind of go out to the cemetery, take a look at the current sign, kind of what they thought. This was not this council, this was a previous council, and get back with staff. I don't believe that happened in total, and this council has not seen the schematic that I have passed out to you this evening, but Councilman Moy asked for an update, and I wanted this council to see something along the lines of what we're proposing. This is not to scale, obviously, and just try to get some feedback from council as to where we go from here.
Everybody understand the schematic? Everybody see the schematic? Have any questions about it? My only question, Terry, the actual sign size, is there an actual size that you denoted or anything about
I
this?
don't know what that would be currently. Materials would probably come into play in terms of weight, that kind of thing. But we would certainly want it to be big enough such that it's more easily seen from the road.
Like 24 by 24, I'm just.
Something to
using-
that.
To that.
Again, we'd have to look at materials just to make sure that any decorative type pole would hold it.
And then I'm asking some crazy questions that meet all our size regulations and all that.
We'll make sure it does.
Okay.
We'll make sure Stephen keeps us in line.
All right. And that post will be drilled down into the concrete.
I think that's what
That's what we
staff
had
was
talked about
looking at,
before,
correct,
right?
correct.
I think Willie
Yes.
talked about this before, if I can remember.
I think
When I was on the
I
council.
think that's right.
Yeah. And then we also had talked about the other sign over at the other cemetery. Correct?
We did. There are
Yeah,
two
at
over
the same
there.
time.
I think some comments were made that potentially those signs are smaller than originally anticipated, but they are much more easily seen, and I think they work all right.
Okay.
Question, Terry, and you're saying that where the pole and the sign is, of course, it's gonna face the highway from looking at your schematic.
Yes.
So not where that tree is. And then also, there will be some sort of, as you said, light to illuminate the sign?
Yes, I
Okay.
think, because currently, right now, where it's located and because it's sort of down, it's very difficult to see and barely, you can't see it at all at night. So
Okay.
trying to bring attention to it in such a way that it would be more easily seen.
Has there been any research as to the historical significance of this cemetery?
I know that there are a lot of historically significant folks interred there, and again, our concerns would be dismantling the sign. In any excavation, we would be concerned about potentially bothering grave sites we know are in and close by.
Yeah, I know that when they widened the
Yes.
road, they had to move some grave sites because they
Yes,
advertised.
that's exactly right. So that's another reason why we were trying to propose something that didn't require any additional excavation, because we're not super clear. It's not as easily laid out as other cemeteries are, and so out of respect, obviously, for those that rest there, we would not want to risk disturbing grave sites.
You need a motion on that tonight?
Actually, if you all are at least as a group in favor of proceeding with this, I don't think I need a motion, but a consensus would help me get back with staff and try to put together a more formalized cost estimate, materials, what it would actually look like. So I'm just trying to get a conceptual agreement by consensus, if that's all right.
It looks like a very reasonable option to make sure that we do not disturb anybody who may be interred there. It's a very nice sign. So I think the addition with lighting would probably be a good move forward, I would say. We direct staff to go ahead and research that and get pricing.
Thank you. Anybody see that differently? Everybody?
I don't see it differently, but I would like to know when we would have the information back about the sign, the time, the cost and things of that nature.
I would say our next meeting, but our next meeting is a week earlier, and the person who's currently working on it and has worked on it historically has been out in the hospital and will be back in the hospital here in the near future. So if not the December meeting, the January meeting, and I only say that because our December meeting, we try to keep that as light as possible, but we could certainly be back with an update in December.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions on the cemetery signage? If not, we'll move on down to new business. Next up is the Stormwater Advisory Board appointment members. And
While Cliff's coming up, Mayor, if I could say this, as Cliff's going to report, this is sort of a reactivation of this board that's been dormant now for quite some time. So there are no current members. So if you'll recall, last time we went member by member, I would just say that it makes sense, assuming there are no disagreements, for you all to approve the slate that's been presented to you, unless there are any additional nominations outside of those that we brought forward.
did everyone see the members' name listed? You did not see the names listed, Councilwoman Hawkins?
Yeah, I did.
I'm talking to Ms. Hawkins. I didn't mean to cut you off, John. I saw her shaking her head.
If I could, I'll just go over the names real quick. Cliff, I'm not trying to cut you off. The names that we are presenting, it says 4 applicants, but there are actually 5. Shatoria Roach, Jonathan Powell, Wayne Peed, Carissa Best, and Brian Fagundes.
Brian Fagundes.
And I believe Mr. Fagundes served on our previous,
He did, he was the
on our
chair.
previous board. Yeah, thank you.
That's all of them.
Thank you.
That's all of them.
Sorry, Cliff.
Oh, no, in the essence of time, everything Terry said, and I want to thank Don for advertising all this, trying to get members. It's been a struggle. Not everybody, I guess, historically wants to serve on this committee, but we're trying to get it back up and going. So staff is just, all the names she's mentioned, asking that these residents be appointed to a 3-year term on the Stormwater Advisory Committee.
Now, I was just going to ask this question. Are they staggered or?
Well, we're bringing that up. I think the ordinance currently calls for staggered, but due to the nature of this board and what they'll be doing, and actually probably for a lot of future terms on boards, I think we would like to change the ordinance, but in light of tonight's appointments, make them all 3-year terms.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to ask. Okay.
I didn't say that very eloquently, but that's, I think that's what we.
Yeah, the ordinance states 1 for 1 year, 2 for 2 years,
Right.
2 for 3 years, but we talked about
It
keeping
gets
them all
confusing.
3 years.
Yes.
Keep them all 3 and then
That way you can try to keep it going.
Keep it
'Cause
going.
right now, we don't have an alternate or anybody.
Okay.
We're still trying to get other folks that may be interested.
Did you get a chance to kind of look?
Yes, I'm in agreement with all of the members. I had a question about what Town Manager Parker just said. For the duration of terms, 3 years, via an ordinance, is that for all the upcoming appointees or any previous boards or across the board, or?
Tonight, it would only be stormwater. I do think it makes sense. I'd have to go back and review the terms of other board members, but this would be for tonight, just
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
Stormwater Committee.
Thank you. Ms.
Thank you.
All right.
I would like to move that we recommend the slate of appointees presented by staff to 3-year terms to the Stormwater Advisory Committee.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Councilwoman Smith, second by Councilwoman Hawkins, to accept the slate of names for the Stormwater Advisory Board to a 3-year term. Okay. Any discussion on that? If none, please vote using. Okay. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you. Next up, we have an appointment to the Recreation Advisory Board. Ms. White.
Good evening. So currently, the Recreation Advisory Board currently has 1 alternate position vacancy. With this, we would like to recommend that Mr. Richard Anthony Yocum Jr. to fill the vacant alternate position. He has served not only as a coach for several different teams, but for his sons, and his sons have played in several different programs over the year, from our Pee Wee, our flag football, and our Cal Ripken baseball.
If I could point out the way that we have structured asking council to vote, certainly you could recommend someone outside of Ms. White's recommendation, but staff does recommend Mr. Yocum as the recommendation for the alternate.
Make a motion, we accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Councilwoman Dr. Brenda Harrell to accept Mr. Yocum, Richard Yocum, Anthony Richard Yocum.
Richard Anthony Yocum.
Richard Anthony, I get it right in a minute. Right. To the Recreation Board as an alternate,
Yes, sir.
correct? Alternate.
Alternate, yes, sir.
Alternate. Is there any discussion before I move on? If none, please vote, please. Thank you for your vote, unanimous. Thank you, Ms. White. The purchase of a, what is it, Yama mini excavator. Ron, hey.
Good evening, council. Mayor Hines. The legislature is looking for approval to purchase a Yanmar mini excavator. We budgeted in the capital outlay for $90,000. It come in about $13,500 under budget.
Good job.
We'll be using it for a lot of the new subdivisions and construction, and to help extend us in the territorial agreement.
Oh, I get a chance to work it.
You can.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the Yanmar mini excavator for the electric department.
And second.
All right. I have a motion made by Councilwoman Dr. Brenda Harrell, second by Councilwoman Smith, to purchase the excavator. In the discussion. If none, please vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Next is the approval of the contract for the Pitt County Schools for the school resource officer. Chief Williams.
Good evening again, council. So before you should have the contract for the school resource officers. That'd be 3 officers for 3 schools. Creekside, W.H. Robinson, A.G. Cox. We have 3 officers in place. 1 is currently out for medical reasons, but there are 3 officers in place.
I believe this is the same contract that council has voted on previously, with the exception of the monetary amount, which reflects increases for salary and benefits.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Councilwoman Robinson, second by Councilwoman Smith. Any discussion? If none, please vote, please. Motion carried. Thank you. Next up is the Winterville Human Relations Board desire to develop a season of giving effort for those experiencing financial barriers. That you take?
No, I believe, well.
I was asked to bring it to the
Yes,
board.
thank you.
Okay, I'm
As
sorry.
liaison. Of course, everybody knows I won't hear, I've been sick, so I asked the chairman if she would share what they discussed about this, because I was not able to be at the meeting last month.
That's Councilwoman Hawkins.
Councilman Hawkins.
Yes, so we had a meeting and we discussed, during our last meeting, we discussed ways that we can be more visible in the community. of course, we introduced ourselves or reintroduced ourselves as a new board during the Watermelon Festival, where we had a table set up and we just had conversation with passerbys or attendees of the Watermelon Festival in terms of just how they feel about Winterville, what would they like to see improve, what do they love about Winterville, and we just had general conversation. So the Winterville Human Relations Board, in wanting to actually follow our mission and, you know, just be inclusive to everyone, that includes those who are impoverished as well. And collectively, during our discussion, we came up with, or our member who is present, Mr. James Jones is present right here. He came up with the season of giving. And we know that our law enforcement does shop with a cop. However, we love Shop with a Cop. However, we want to stand as a separate board, you know, on our own and do various things throughout the month in terms of a season of giving. We did not go into the details because we wanted first to get approval of it. It will be throughout the month of December, in which we maybe give food or clothing or books or notebooks or just our time. We just wanted to be part of the visibility within Winterville as quote, the season of giving. So we are asking for the town council's approval for the Winterville Human Relations Board to move forward with that.
I make a motion to approve the Human Relations Board to develop a season of giving effort.
And I second that.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Motion made by Councilwoman Dr. Brandon Harrell, second by Councilwoman Hawkins, to develop a season of giving. Wasn't that correct? That's what you said, right?
Yes, develop a season of giving effort to the.
Right. Okay. I was wondering.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I do have a question, if I may.
Question.
Councilwoman Hawkins, did y'all discuss a budget?
We did not discuss a budget. We were doing that based on ourselves. If I can recall, we as a board were never given a prospective budget, but if we can be, we will be gladly accepting of it.
So, obviously, because it was inactive at the time, the board, there's no bona fide budget, but there is a little bit of money set aside in this year's budget. Just wanted to put that out there, and happy to help.
Yes.
If, you know, council moves forward with it, anything I can do to help put some numbers together or whatnot, just let me know.
Thank you very much, and we will provide you with the update, and thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Mr. Jones.
Any discussion before we fast fingers?
I had already voted. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I did things in order.
I'm sorry.
But I had already voted. It's unto my heart.
If you could please vote. Yeah. Motion carried. Thank you, all. I'm teasing you.
Oh, you're fine.
Let me see where I'm at. Oh, I have mercy. That was that. Okay, now we under this section, other agenda items. Councilwoman Hawkins, number one was to request for a recycling review 3 months after the changes. I think that would be Anthony. Ms. Hawkins, if you can expound on what you was asking.
Sure.
Okay.
So back in
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
So back on February 26th, there was a workshop held to discuss the rate that was utilized for recycling. However, there was also requested $3, or it was a discussion for a prospective $3.50 increase. I I don't know, in that collective sanitation, $3.50, that what part went to recycling, or was it just a collective increase for both recycling as well as trash? That was when we were presented with a presentation on recycling and GFL and some problems that was going on prior to the new contract that was drawn. So that was our first, I guess, instance of review of recycling. During the April 8th meeting, there was a solid waste and recycling recommendations were made for the increase of $3.50, and that it would be 4 days a week pickup, and that we would reduce recycling from weekly to biweekly. These are all things that took place in terms of recycling. Then in our budget meeting, all of this went forward, and the recycling changes went into effect in July. I say all that to say, July this went into effect. And from my standpoint, via Facebook, Town of Winterville, via Nextdoor, via conversation, emails, even public comment, there are responses from the citizens. I know in our September meeting, we touched on, Dr. Harrell suggested that we have an educational forum in terms of what could be recycled, what should not. And so I don't know if we had anything definitive, but I feel like we need to have some sort of recycling review now that we are 3 months after the change. Citizens want to hear back from us. And so that is my question here as the council. How do we respond when we have citizens who have questions? And how do we respond, and when do we respond? And I know we had the workshop. I know we had a budget meeting in terms of the increase and who wanted to speak against it or not. But at this point in time, there needs to be some sort of response, an educational forum, a question answer session, some opportunity for citizens to come, ask those questions directly and get direct answers. So that is what I'm speaking to. Mr. Bowers or whomever is in charge of recycling, can you please respond?
I probably talk to more people about this than Anthony. Of course, we've been bombarded with calls. People dislike change. It's hard. We get it. And I understand it. Most of the folks I talk to, once I explain what truly can be recycled, what truly can't be recycled, and how you have to go about it, are on board with the changes we made. The only thing I'm getting, being open and honest, is if what's truly recyclable is they would have seen us rather do away with recycling altogether. Because, you know, everybody thinks you can recycle a dog food bag or plastic coat hangers or, you know, any of that kind of stuff that they're putting in their dog beds. Just because it's made out of paper, plastic, cardboard, they think it can go in their pizza boxes. You know, all those stuff, you know, all that stuff can't go in there. So talking to these people, I mean, I'm out in the neighborhoods every week talking to folks because they call Kim, and when they don't get what they want from her, they call me. And most people are very receptive to it. And I think it's going better than we anticipate. I know we got hounded on Facebook and the town website for a while. But it's not, I'm not gonna say needed, but the changes were made not just for recycling and sanitation. I mean, there were more, all the routes we run throughout the town are considered sanitation. So it wasn't just a cost increase for those specific, that specific contract. You know, we were losing every year on this thing. So Anthony made the point to go through and have, you know, put the prices together, put it out for bids, all these different things. He can touch on that. But what I'm gathering is folks are getting on board with it. Change is just hard. And when I go around and start physically, because they don't think I will, pulling all the stuff out their can that's not able to be in there, they kind of see then that, well, they're the ones doing it wrong. You know, not everybody is. I have found too, to be honest with you, out of the whole town. that we're doing it correctly. But, I mean, once you talk to these people and explain it to them, all the ones I've talked to have been on board. Now, the folks that call and give me an earful and then hang up and I don't talk to them anymore, I'm sure they're not satisfied. But the folks I truly go out and they're willing to meet with me, they're really on board with what we're doing. And if y'all would ever feel welcome to go talk to some of these folks with me and we explain to them, you'll hear the responses I'm getting. Yes, ma'am.
I do appreciate you even talking to me.
Yeah.
I was one of those residents. What? Yes, transparency, right? I was one of those residents that didn't fully understand or probably threw away that list of when I should put it out. And so Cliff is actually correct. I called and asked, well, what am I supposed to do? But for those that you don't get a chance to talk to, if we could invite them here, and if they're willing to come out to listen to it collectively, I do feel like that will be a great solution as well. So can we actually have a date that we can just invite the citizens out to come and have a listening session? And you can, tell them the same thing. And or sometimes when people don't come out, they still, like you said, they're on Facebook or on social media. And if you are, and if this is something that we can do, maybe make a little video clip of this is what you can do, this is how you can do it, because some people are more apt to listen to it on social media and things of that nature. So we can have it across the board when it comes to recycling education, and I'll be the first one to continue to listen to it.
And it's in our newsletter. It's in our newsletter every month.
And the newsletter is great, but again, we are in a technological age where people do read, but also just like myself, sometimes we just see it, okay, well, I know I have to pay my bill, I might throw this away, but if there's a way, if we can, to just have a small clip to say what is needed, sometimes people are more apt to just listen to it and see it again. And then also, we want to make sure that we're just opening it up to the public to come in to the town hall to listen, for 45 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes, just to say that we have actually made the effort to educate our citizens.
And I make a motion, Ms. Harrell, make that clip. Other folks I've talked to, and I've run into this a lot, their recycled container can't hold all the cardboard. What I'm finding is a lot of these folks are running businesses from their home, which when you dig into it, and I explained that we're not supposed to pick up cardboard from businesses, so on and so forth, a lot of them will be like, can you forget I called? I'm like, so when you talk to these people and get on, you get down on their level, they truly understand what we're doing. It's just hard for the folks, no offense. Some people just, they don't like change and they're gonna complain about it. And I truly understand where they are, but when you really explain it to them and talk to them, and they get it. It just doesn't seem like it, but they're getting it.
If I may, Mayor.
Councilwoman.
And I think that's a great idea as well, Ms. Harrell. But I want to say thank you so much to Mr. McGuffin for taking the time to go out and speak to citizens. As you can see, he does a great job. But I think with everything we have, newsletters, social media, oftentimes it's word of mouth. So you all have heard as constituents this evening the things that we can and cannot recycle and the reasons behind. Help us to get the word out, because oftentimes it's word of mouth that goes a really long way. But I as well appreciate Mr. Harvey, who posts every week and keeps me straight, because I have it on my calendar what week to put out the recycle bin, but I always double check it by Mr. Harvey's update. So if you're not on the Nextdoor app or checking the website, please do, I encourage you to do that, but please help us to get the word out, because oftentimes it's word of mouth from our constituents and our citizens that help us the most. Thank you to all of you.
And I just want to add, we are still offering a great value. In other words, if you were to contract individually to have your garbage picked up, those outside of the municipal boundaries are paying over $20-some just for garbage, okay? So still here in Winterville, for your $15, you're getting your solid waste, you're getting your recycling, you're getting your bulk items, your limbs, everything that comes along with all the routes that we run on a regular basis, the value that you're getting. And just keep in mind too, when we're talking to the citizens, we were losing money on every account. So as the town grows, it was getting exponentially larger and larger and larger. So for every citizen that we gained, our losses were getting larger. So it was at a point where we couldn't continue financially to sustain where we were. So just from a financial standpoint, I just kind of wanted to, bring it full picture and let everybody understand what all we're getting for the $15 compared to the $20+ that someone outside of town would have to pay for the same service from GFL.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Councilwoman.
Yep, so what is the answer? We're just continue word of mouth? Because Dr. Harrell said she would like to suggest some sort of form where they came out. Are we gonna do it, are we not? And I also support that and reinforce what she says, because what it does is it shows that we've made an effort, right? 30 minutes will not hurt, but what 30 minutes will do will show that you are intentional. You are intentional for every citizen to say that we have made this effort. Whether they come out or not, or whether they listen or not, this is something that we can reference. So a video, what are we prompted to do?
I think we can do all of the above. So I think we can have an educational, I'll call it an educational session, meeting here at Town Hall for folks who want to come in person. I think we had already started talking internally as staff about there's no reason with YouTube we can't start doing some informational clips that can just stay up. And Mayor Pro Tem Harrell's already offered her services, so.
Yeah.
There's no NIL.
I do think that there's several things. Recycling is a great example, but there are lots of other services and bits of information that would be an additional way to get the word out. So if that answers your question, I think we can do all of the above. I don't think I need council to vote on having an educational session, but what we'll do as staff is we'll knock around some dates, and once we sort of solidify a date, get that out to council as we start preparing for that, if that sounds okay.
Sounds
It
good.
sounds perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Winterville Business Town Hall, in-person business advertisement / display to town council / residents. Councilwoman Hall.
Thank you. So the second item is an item that may never have been seen here in Winterville, and that is why newer council on the board is bringing these new ideas in. So for example, we had a public town hall where we had given an opportunity for residents to come in and ask questions to our law enforcement, our fire personnel, EMT, and or staff. We gave that opportunity, so that opportunity was given. So what I am presenting to the town council, just for a discussion or not, or to ponder, is a business town hall. We have a lot of small businesses here in Winterville. This would give them the opportunity to advertise their business, speak to the residents, speak to the town who can support them. I know we have the Chamber of Commerce, but in my experience with the Chamber of Commerce, I've been invited to openings, right? I've been invited to openings, things during various holidays. I have not seen where there is an actual business, a bazaar. I know we have the square, but when have we ever had anything in the town hall where each business is presenting what they do? It could be a child care business, it can be art, it can be sewing, it can be, I don't know, car sales. What have we had? So that is what I wanted to present. And we don't have to discuss it further, but I wanted to bring that to the surface. And when I launch this out or talk to various businesses, I will ask them if they want to have that as well.
Councilwoman Hawkins, we've had one.
Okay.
Actually, in 2021, when I became mayor, we actually had all the businesses come in to the town hall and just talk.
Yes.
I think Rebecca did do the
She did
facilitated it.
facilitate,
She
yes.
facilitated it, but we kind of listened to what each business wanted to bring to the table. We talked about different ideas and all that, right here at the town hall. That was in 21, I think.
think
when
that's
yeah,
correct.
when I came mayor. It was well attended. And they talked about, hadn't done it, and, so, but it was well attended by all the businesses here in town. I think Stephen and Brian at the time sent out to all the businesses that we have in town and made sure that they got the notice. And it was pretty packed in here, yeah. So it has. I mean.
So that was wonderful. That
if
was in 2021.
Right, if we need to do it again, we might
We've-
need to look at maybe,
Yeah, we've had an addition of
Right.
of several businesses. It certainly
Mhm.
is probably time to do it
Right.
again. So,
but I was just trying to reference,
Thank you.
it has
That's-
been done.
That's
Yes, ma'am.
wonderful. I'm glad that has been done before, and hopefully we can revisit and revise and
Right.
get a revival of it.
Right. So you good on that part, on that?
Town Manager Parker, for you.
I will add that to the list. Yes.
So you good on two, okay. So number 3 is Youth Council need for reactivation, Councilwoman Hawkins.
So during the Winterville Human Relations Board meeting, we were discussing how we could interact with the youth. We know that there was once a youth council, and so I'm just bringing this before the council. I don't know if we can put our minds together or advertise for someone to actually help to put that board together. But we have a lot of youth here in Winterville. And I believe it is beneficial to invest in our youth in Winterville in a variety of aspects. One is talking with them, guiding them, helping them along the way in whatever age they are at. So I am speaking to the need for a reactivation of the Youth Council Board. How do I go about that? Bringing that to the council first and then seeing what the next steps are. I don't mind making the next steps, helping with the next steps, but this is a need.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just gonna make a recommendation to put it up under the Human Relations Council.
That's exactly what I
Like,
was gonna.
let y'all, the Human Relations Council handle that, and then when you report, it'll be a report coming back through both. Would that make sense? I'm just, yeah.
So, Councilwoman Hawkins, that is an amazing idea to reactivate the youth council. When I was on the Human Relations Board, we did have a young person on the board, but however, I do think that there should be a degree of separation when it comes to the youth being able to talk about issues and things like that, but also, as you were speaking, Mayor, about having the guidance or the umbrella of the Human Relations Board. So I think that would be amazing.
Well, if I may, historically, that was a completely separate undertaking that a staff member handled. Well, needless to say, as time has gone on and workload has increased, and those that were truly involved as kids, I say as youth, grew up and moved on, that effort was difficult to keep in place. So then we started looking for outside, when I say outside, non-staff members to be the people that put it together, got it going, and we just weren't very successful. So the reason I do think that's an awesome idea is because human relation boards in general oftentimes pick I won't say a project, but an effort, if you will, and I'm certainly not trying to pick it for you, but I do know that the subject of youth in and of itself and how they are served in our town is something that is critically important. I know it's been something that's been important to you, and that could be a nice gelling of not only an overall purpose for the Human Relations Board, but also getting the youth involved in governmental services and activities.
Yeah, and the reason I said that because, go back to earlier, we talked about the Human Relation Board, the Season of Giving, and that's sort of like a service to educate the youth about, about service, being, doing things in your community. And so, me thinking about putting it under Human Relation Council, I think as a subcommittee, that would be great. And, like Dr. Harrell said, this board, believe it or not, I think we're blessed to have so many educators.
Absolutely.
On this board. You look down left to right, you got educators. And I think it'd be very vital to get this back going again, because I think we got a lot of people that could actually reach out and help all you, so.
There is a charter for the youth council here in Winterville. I don't know if it's still active or not.
It is.
But I know it was chartered.
I have a question in terms of integrating the youth or youth council with Human Relations Board, because even with the county Human Relations Board, there's a sub-youth in that. Would the youth council be given any kind of funding as well? I know the Human Relations Board, or would that be integrated in that as well? Or should I talk about that
Actually,
at the meeting?
that is something, the Youth Council has historically received a small amount of funding in the budget. And so I think they could continue to receive a small amount of funding in the budget. And then obviously the Human Relations Board would have I would almost say it could be combined but separate amount, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
So the Youth Council could operate as its own, I'll call it a subcommittee for lack of a
Yes,
better
ma'am.
word currently. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Any more discussions on that? Okay, if not, item number 4 is our law enforcement community connections. Councilwoman
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes, so if anyone knows me and what I have been saying every time I speak, or if I'm speaking in terms of law enforcement, I am trying to foster better relations, increase greater relations with our law enforcement. And sometimes people feel like that's taboo if you say, oh, we're not having good relations. I'm not saying we're not having good relations with our law enforcement. I'm saying I want to increase better relationships with our law enforcement, and that comes with community connections. I'm saying that we do have successfully coffee with a cop, but I have on several occasions asked, how can we expand that? This is held at 9 a.m., 9 to 10:30 most times. And for myself, I could only attend in August when I wasn't working school. So how do we expand our relationships with the community outside of Coffee with the Cop or Shop with the Cop? Because that's with children and that's during Christmas. How do we become more community or visibility? Like how do we do that? And so I'm asking Chief to speak to that, or any other law enforcement personnel, because I feel like that is a need. And as a town council, I'm speaking to the need.
Not to put the chief on the spot, if I may speak to that. I think Chief, in his relatively new position, is getting acclimated in a variety of ways and trying to get staff on board is one of the top priorities. He agrees, not to speak for you, Chief, so jump in if I get something wrong, that the department's relationship with the community is of critical importance. So he and I continue to work, and he works through his department on various ways to do that. I think, Chief, it would probably make sense to have continued discussions and probably report back to council with kind of an overall idea of what the department intends to do from a community standpoint. and then certainly try to get insight and feedback from council members through an informal process via email, et cetera. That's sort of the way I see that taking place.
And so I will look forward to the chief's correspondence on that. Initially, in terms of Coffee with a Cop.
Okay.
That can be something easily expanded into an evening or a weekend. And so that has been shared a few times, but nothing has been moved on that. So I will be awaiting an email or correspondence or conversation with the chief moving forward, and I thank you.
Also, to expound on a little bit, we had the walk and roll, and the police department was well represented. I think the kids enjoyed it that morning. I saw a bunch of the officers, and then also our fire department was there as well. I think all our first responders were there, and they participated in the walk and roll from Hillcrest over. Even your mayor was up at 6:30 in the morning. I made myself over there, and I walked with the kids, got a chance to interact with the kids, it was good. It was good to see not just our agency, but I think the county, some of the county and East Carolina was there as well. East Carolina Health policeman was there. Young lady from the sheriff department was there. So I want to thank them for participating along with that. And like I said, fire and fire department, they was there with their big truck, as the little kids say. And so I think that was really good, and I appreciate you, Chief Williams, for what you're doing, trying to stay involved in our community. Thank you. And on that point, John, you need something? Your councilman?
Yes, I do have I have an idea. I would like to ask Chief Williams, would that be a problem about inviting you out to Sunday service sometime? And I'm just asking a question.
Sure.
And that will be an avenue also that
Yes, sir.
ones that have never had opportunity to meet you, to say something to you, the ones that is not able to come out to our meeting, ones don't know technology, to get on the computer, but they do go to church. And myself, I would love to invite you.
Well, thank you, Councilman. I look forward to any interaction. I said, since Ms. Terry put these eagles on me, that my intent was to be more involved with the community. And I hate to do this before quarterly reports are due, but I feel like it just needs to be said. First of all, thank you, Councilwoman Hawkins, for understanding that throwing more police at a problem will not fix it, earlier in your statement about the stop sign. Miss Dr. Harrell, I know you mentioned police CIT training during Mental Health Awareness Week. I will let you know that by the end of the year, 100% of our officers will be CIT trained. All right, in the last 90 days, we have attended multiple community events, to include being a guest speaker at Ms. Henderson's senior citizen meeting, Buffalo Soldiers. We conducted National Night Out, which I think was a huge success. We currently have a student in BLET. He is an African-American citizen of Winterville. Hopefully everything goes well. He will be one of us. We have conducted several Coffee with the Cops. This Coffee with the Cop, you've all been personally invited, is at Cooper's Cup. There will be cheese biscuits, and there will be Danishes or whatever the lady's cooking, I don't know. And apparently the coffee's over there is good, but I don't drink it. We continue to work on technology and digitization in the PD. We are doing Cops on a Roof. I've sent Mr. Harvey the flyer for that. There are ways for you to give this year without having to come there, stand in line at Walmart or anything else through drop shifting, Amazon, Walmart, Target, wherever you want to buy your bike from. We will do Shop with a Cop. I'd love to talk to you and the good gentleman here about some other ideas for Thanksgiving and stuff if you guys are open to that. We did do the kids walk and roll to school thing that you talked about. We have had 3 community action meetings in neighborhoods where they have asked us to come. One of the problems with what you keep talking about as far as meetings at night or whatever, we did that. When I first got promoted to chief, we did that. You know how many people attended? Fire personnel and police personnel were the only people that attended. So we have started going out into the public and making ourselves aware there. We've attended 2 events at the Winterville Church of Christ. We attended an event at Miss Robertson's church. We attended Glow Golf with Miss White at the community thing and had a great time golfing with kids out there. We attended the Fire Prevention Week event with Christ Covenant Schools at the thing. So hopefully that answers some of your concerns about our attempt to get into the community, while hopefully also checking my box for quarterly reports. So,
I think you did.
I do, I think you got it.
And I thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And that should be something that is done, and I applaud you for that because you are engaged.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I say that, is not to say, again, it is not taboo.
Nope.
And when I say coffee with a cop, we want to have an event where we can invite youth, teenagers, 20s, or those who are typically pulled over for citations to sit down and get to know you all. So that is what I'm speaking to.
Yeah, and my
I
door is
know
always
you are
open.
welcome to that, and that is why I say I'm welcome to your email and to try to collaborate, because Chief Williams, I had a good relationship with Chief Wilhite, and I really feel like I'm building a great relationship with you. I feel like we are engaged in good conversation. But Chief Wilhite, you standing there, your force goes beyond you, right? You have more officers that fall up under your rank as a chief, and it goes to that in the community more than yourself, because you are personable, you do talk. And so when I'm speaking to that, it is my hopes that we can collaborate and conversate more so that we can get out and touch on some touch points within the community. And I thank you. And because I asked that question, it doesn't mean that I don't thank you, because I say it, I appreciate you, and I'm honestly grateful to have you here in Winterville, because I sleep better at night. And that's for anybody's ears. I sleep better, and my precious family sleeps better at night because of what you do, and I thank you.
Thank you. And again, this was just to make a point that we are reaching out to the community. But you got to reach back, right? If we continue to reach out and nobody reaches back, we keep having events, nobody shows up. We keep reaching out, talking to pastors, talking to Mr. Moore would be glad to show up at your church, and we will attend and listen to the word, and you know, the whole, if you feed us like Miss Robertson's church did, that's even that much better.
Or you just
So we continue to work with Pastor Coles in Greenville, who's the Toys for Tots representative for Pitt County and Wilson County. So we're doing a lot, but you know, the community has to reach back. They have to want to be engaged. If I come up to you, right, that's what we call a consensual encounter. I'm engaging you in conversation.
Yes.
But I can't make you react to that. You can turn your back and leave, and that's continually what's happening. And don't get me wrong, I understand a lot of what's going on in America. I was a soldier for 22 years before I ever became a cop, so I understand some of it, right? I'm not party to it, so I don't know 100% of it, but I understand it. And so I will continue to reach out with all of your help, and hopefully, you know, we will get there where, you know, we can all look back at these days and laugh. But at the meantime, you know, I will continue to reach out. My officers will continue to reach out. We will continue to do what we can where we can. But, you know, it has, you know, just like Democrats and Republicans, it has come from both sides of the aisles. You can't make the other people attend.
And I thank you, and I will be looking forward to corresponding with you to making that happen.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thank you. And again, I would have brought this up sooner or months prior, but this is a sensitive topic. It's a sensitive subject. But like you said, we need each other.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a one-way street. And again, I thank you. I'll be corresponding with you.
All right, so look for an ugly email if you ain't there Friday.
Sure.
And I just don't want to invite you to our little church.
Oh, it's,
As to include everybody on our staff.
oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure. I'm not putting you just on no pedestal.
I understand.
That involves,
clarified that.
yes, the invitation is given to all of our staff.
Everybody
okay?
understands the
So
level.
everybody does an excellent job for this wonderful town.
Thank you.
Ms. Hawkins, Councilwoman Hawkins, to that, you want to move on to number 5, item
Sure,
5,
sure.
Mental Health Awareness Day.
Sure. Now, officially, Mental Health Awareness Day was October 10th, 2024. I previously brought up, I think about 2 months ago, about I think there should be a need for awareness and or training about the mental capacities of a lot of residents here in Winterville. We talked about that also at Coffee with a Cop back in August. And just how to diffuse situations. There's mental health first aid trainings. I spoke to that. So I put this on the agenda as an agenda item to say that for here in Winterville, I would like to, I reached out to someone from Trillium, thanks to Dr. Harrell giving me that resource. I collaborate with school counselors. I know tons of educators who are involved with youth all the way up through high school and college. And I would like to bring something here to Winterville for a Mental Health Awareness Day. This can also include our law enforcement, our fire department, and our staff. So we don't have to make a motion today, this evening, or move on it, but I just feel like I want to keep this at the surface with it being Mental Health Awareness Day this past week. This is important, not only for myself, but every one of us here in this room has a family member who is dealing with mental health issues, and maybe some of us in here, all right? Maybe very well some of us in here. So we must be aware, we must be sensitive to it, as well as respectful, but we also need to have the tools to use when we come across that. So that is what I wanted to speak to. Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Councilwoman Hawkins, I'm grateful that you were able to reach out to some of those resources that I was able to provide. But I would also like to say, just to kind of echo, Mental Health Awareness Month is in May. So we would have time to possibly collaborate, put something together for a Mental Health Awareness Day. So if I could get Town Manager Parker, if we all could kind of, I guess, have a planning meeting or something of that nature to bring resources and things of that nature for May 2025, to have a Mental Health Awareness Day in the month of May. I think the council and the staff know that I'm the probably Awareness Day person. I ask you to wear different colors, wear green, purple, and all the colors, and hopefully, I talked to Terry about the pink today, but I think I was kind of last minute. But however, Councilwoman Hawkins, to your point, yes, I do think that we should have something here in Winterville, maybe at the square, or whatever that should look like. We could start planning now for a wonderful Mental Health Awareness Day in May.
Love it. Yep. We talked about having it at the market square.
I think that would be great since it's in May or whatever that looks like, and I guess, not council, Town Manager Parker, would you be able to, I guess, open it up in an email or something for whoever would like to be on the planning committee with us? Okay.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Hawkins, that answer number 5?
That sounds perfect, and that's the way we can integrate our Human Relations Board and youth in that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, items for future agenda and future work sessions,
Please,
Town
I'll
manager.
stay town manager.
Okay.
I'll let y'all handle the
Okay.
council stuff. This is just a quick overview that we do have a couple of items that staff believes, due to the nature of the time it will take to cover those items, these are better addressed during a future work session. One is to have the UNC Environmental Finance Center come and talk about our water and sewer financial condition, and they conducted a rate analysis as well. And also some folks who have reached out to us to come and speak on helping to get access to energy funding, as well as some committee work. So we'll be reaching out to you all to try to set a date for that in the future.
Okay. All right. Quarterly reports from our department head, besides and Chief Williams. And I think Anthony, unless he got some more he needs to talk about in his quarterly report. Okay, well, you stay over there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're going to start with Stephen, and then we'll go right down the line.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Just a couple of quick items. Christ Covenant School is adding a new 46,000 square foot building onto their Worthington Road campus. So that's pretty big. Another one that I think is kind of unique, there is a minor preliminary plat, meaning that it will not go before you, but for the Jones Street Winterville Manor site. They are proposing to replace that with 5 new homes in that location, so I think that would be really, really cool. Yes. If everything works out, I was telling Unshakable Builders that we will be singing his praises. And then lastly, I want to give kudos to our economic development planner, Tristan. She won a national award and was flown to Portland, Oregon last week to receive her award in community engagement work that she did at East Carolina University.
Congratulations.
Really, really huge award for her and the town as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Stephen, you say it was 5 new homes going to be on Jones Street where the old...
Where the Winterville Manor rest home currently sits, the plan right now is to replace that with 5 new homes.
That was, yes.
Mr. Ron?
Good evening again. Our electric department, we've been busy. We installed 8 new transformers in Eli's Ridge and 11 in Maine for new services out there. We've been keeping up with construction demands in Copper Creek, Eli's Ridge, and Brookfield with home services. We're currently in a system evaluation project with All Grid, evaluating our town's infrastructure as far as electric needs go. We converted lighting in Brookfield subdivision. We were proactive in our mosquito program, and our electric and meter department have done over 600 work orders and over 300 cutoffs and notes.
The changing out of...
Yes, sir?
In the process of changing out some lines?
No, sir, some lights.
No, I'm talking about electric lines or something.
No, we're having a system evaluation project where a engineering firm is giving us a cost analysis on how much it would cost to replace our electric system if a major catastrophe or something like that occurred.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They're going to put us a price point on our electric system.
Also, are you having any problem about purchasing transformers now?
We have had some, we still have some on order that's been on order since 2022, and we are having some success ordering some transformers now that are kind of coming in a little bit quicker than the ones that we previously ordered back in 22, but there is still a backlog on transformers, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anthony?
Just 22 quick items.
Cut them down to 2.
Real quick, I know everybody will be excited to hear. We've signed a notice to proceed on the pump station project. That'll begin December 2nd. And so that work will begin. It's a little over 400-day project, so it is not something that'll happen overnight. But we have worked with the contractor to make sure that we start with the Chapman Street project first, and that is our total emphasis as given the capacity issues that we're currently having at that station. You will see a fenced-in area, which will be called the laydown yard. You'll see them start pretty soon putting a fence out there. It'll be close to the pump station that's existing, and they'll use that to house all their equipment and items that'll be used in the construction of the project while that project is going on. So when you see that fence going up, that's what that is for. You may see some crews in town beginning this week for our lead service line inventory. This is a situation where, due to federal mandates, we have to identify any lead copper lines that may be on the town system. And so we engage with Rivers and Associates to help us identify the properties in town that are subject to these being inventoried. And essentially what happened is once these properties are inventoried, then a determination will have to be made in a later process as to what the corrective actions are for that. So moving on, we've been working on the Public Works and electric facilities. We've had renovations going on in there, and it looks amazing what those guys have had previously. I think it's original ductwork from the 60s possibly. So it's a whole new clean environment for staff, and they're very appreciative and excited to be in there. I'm still making forward progress with the Mill Street project. We've got a meeting with NCDOT later this week to talk about possible infrastructure that may be water and electric lines that are possibly going to be interfering with the construction, and how to navigate the sidewalk and lay out the best plan of action as we move forward. So that's still moving forward. As we mentioned, we have the water and sewer rate study meeting that needs to be scheduled. And we also have been working on electric customer satisfaction. You may remember us asking people to fill out surveys several months ago. We've worked with electric cities to get this analyzed, and so that information is getting processed, and a presentation will be put together to present to the council as well. Good information to be had there. And that's basically it. I'll see you in closed session.
Thank you.
Unless you have any questions.
Anthony, I do. Could you back up? You mentioned something about Mill Street project.
Sidewalk, Mill Street sidewalk?
Could you recap that again?
Sure. We have a meeting scheduled with NCDOT to talk about, how our utilities may impact the project and what that project looks like. So it's moving on a continuum. We're trying to make sure it gets funded, and in order to do that, we're working with NCDOT engineers at the moment to identify any issues that may come about as a result of our utility. So that'll be the next step, is basically assessing the utility situation and how that might affect the lay of the sidewalk.
But there's still no guarantee that we're gonna get the sidewalk, or that already has been.
It has not been, there's no guarantee as of right now. We're just moving the ball down the field a little bit and hoping we'll score here shortly. But the important thing is that they haven't told us no as well. Yeah.
Good sign. And your MPO meeting, your next one for councilors, this month, is that correct?
I believe so. I'll have to go back and look at the specific date, but I believe it is.
Are you still using that priority list for projects in the area?
But the MPO priority list, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They are still using that.
So Mill Street is where on
The intersection at Mill Street?
the Mill Street project, where does it rank on the list?
So actually, they've taken it out of that project and moved it over here because of our, efforts. So they've moved it over here to a different funding source, and so it won't be, if it goes to the standard MPO, it's still like 20 years out.
All right.
But what we've done is kind of got it over here in another funding mechanism that'll allow us to advance it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cliff?
Yes, sir. Anthony touched on the Chapman Street Pump Station. We've made some efforts on trying to, because we have an issue at that station with I&I. So we have gone out looking, trying to find these problems. When a rain event, it goes in high level within 45 minutes. In looking at that, we found in Waterford subdivision, all the sewers in people's backyards out there, we found several people had opened their cleanouts and are draining their backyards. That is their drainage into the sewer system. We found one that had all their roof gutters tied to their sewer cleanout. So we're in the process of trying to investigate that. If y'all see anybody, please let them know that's not allowed, or notify the town or anything like that. So we have gone in and corrected those, notified the homeowners. And the Armory as well. They have a huge I&I problem out there. We've been in contact with them. They're supposed to get on fixing that stuff. So both of those directly go straight to Chapman, and they're both very close to the station. We touched on recycling earlier. We finished up the can swaps. Kim has a list going of folks that still have their cans. Folks here, if you know anybody that still have the blue cans, they can call in, get on the list, and they'll bring them a new green can. Another thing I want to touch on that I mentioned earlier is a big issue I'm having in recycling is folks want to bag their recyclings and then throw it in their garbage can. Bags are not allowed. Nothing in recycling is allowed to be in a bag. So if you're putting it in a bag or putting a bag in your recycling can, that is contamination. They will not dump it. So just keep that in mind. I know you want to try to be proactive, but that's one of the biggest causes we find with the recycling problem. As y'all know, you approved 3 positions for us this year. We've hired one guy. He started this past Monday, and I'll be bringing all these guys in there, introducing them soon. We have 2 more starting, one at the end of this month, one at the beginning of the next month. So we truly appreciate that. Staff's very thankful. We finished our SCADA upgrade last week. We're on a new SCADA system, so these old, outdated computers we have and communication issues we were having, we're going away from radios and antennas, have gone to cellular modems, a more technologically advanced system. We're on a server now, housed at Lord & Company's facility where folks can't go in the building and hack into our SCADA system. So we're just trying to keep up with the times and the security. So that kicked off on Friday, and we went and did all our checks today, and everything's instantaneous. We're used to it could be 45 minutes to an hour before we got an alarm. Now, as soon as you pull it, it notifies you. So that was a huge help.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where the money stops.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Just a couple of updates for finance. Our auditors have completed their final field work. They completed that in September. They've completed the draft of the financial statements and sent that over to us to review, and we've reviewed it and sent it back to them. According to them, it's at the firm's internal review process, so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have it submitted by the October 31st deadline, so we should be good to go on that.
Good.
And also, Rivers and Associates completed their study on our water and sewer infrastructure. That made us able to successfully update our fixed asset schedule. That way we can include donated water and sewer assets from subdivision developments that had not been included from the prior years. That was able to help us increase the remaining useful life of our assets and increase it above 50%.
Okay, thank you.
I got.
Ms. White?
Good evening again. So we have been extremely busy with fall sports because even though we finished baseball in the spring, towards the end of the summer, we just rolled right into our fall baseball program. So right now we have all of our sports going from soccer, flag football, tackle, and baseball. And tonight we actually started our tackle football games. So we have that started. We just finished our first session of fall dance classes, and we're getting ready to roll into the next session of our dance classes. So those vary between ages 1.5 to around 7 years old. And then also we have our Golden Age Senior Program. We do bingo, and this past Thursday we actually had a day where we were actually able to just paint and decorate some pumpkins, so that way you could either have them hanging on your wall or have them displayed. So Ms. Robertson, thank you I got to spend some time with her on Thursday. So we always welcome anybody to come out and hang out with us.
What's their senior age?
Watch it.
I'm not gonna
I think it was
answer
unanimous
that.
that you qualified, Mayor.
I'm just asking. I'm young.
If you would like to come hang out with us. So I think we have a good time. The guys and me and, you know, all the seniors, we have fun. We get to joke, snack, and do arts and crafts, play bingo. And I mean, Miss Minnie, Miss Veronica, or Miss Robertson can attest that, you know, Miss Minnie, she'll get into the bingo. It's a good time. And it's a growing program, so we have fun. So just a couple of special events that we've had this past September. We had National Night Out and Back to School Splash that we partnered with the Chamber and the Police Department. We actually were invited to Wintergreen's Fall Festival, so that gave us a chance, an opportunity to connect with the school system and just kind of tell everybody, hey, what kind of programs that we have, especially because there are so many different recreation departments throughout Pitt County. This gave us an opportunity to, you know, just say, hey, we have this going on, you know, we have special events coming up, especially with the Glow Golf. Many people, you know, never heard of Glow Golf before, and so it kind of sparked their attention, and they, you know, even one lady said, hey, I'm gonna pass this out to my kindergarten class, you know, we'll see you there. Also, we have movies in the park. We have our last movie in the park and concert in the park this month before we shut it down till next year. And then this past Friday, we had our Glow Golf Vibe event, which honestly was the first time that we've ever had it, and honestly, I think it was a huge success. Also, thank you to the Winterville PD, because they're out there, they walked around, they talked to folks, you know, and it was fun. You had anybody from a youth, even a toddler, all the way up to seniors, just having a good old time. We also, you know, partnered with the chamber, so they had vendors out there, so they had an opportunity to kind of see more of the recreation side for the park, because normally it's at the market, so this gave them an opportunity as well. And it was just something different, something, you know, unique, and we talked to the vendor about, you know, hopefully we can do it again next year. And I think there's, you know, different members of different communities from, I think, Washington Chamber, somebody from Pine Tops, they came out here for this event. So, you know, this is a great opportunity to bring people from outside of Winterville to see what we had to offer, not just for the recreation department, but just around town. And then last but not least, because I know we probably won't see y'all until November, we have the upcoming Fright Fest. So that is something that we partner with the chamber, but not only the chamber, we partner with the PD, the fire, electric, and public works, so several town departments. So we invite y'all to be out there, come get some candy, come see us. There are also the vendors from the chamber will be out there as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
What's the status is on the multi-purpose?
So last week, we had some different focus groups going on. There were a couple focus groups that we still have upcoming, but now there was a few, I know some could not make it, so I know if y'all were not able to make it, we'll reach out to y'all about rescheduling, because we do want your input as well.
Question, in terms of the focus groups.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that public-wide, as citizens, as council, is who's involved in the focus groups? And what is the range of that? Like you said, you have focus groups going on. How do I share that information if that is for others to know? And what's the time frame?
So with the focus groups, we had different categories, different groups. So we have for like athletics. So any of our coaches, our moms that, you know, may have participants that played in our sports in the past years or currently, town council, that's considered a focus group. So you received an invitation from James Ford that was part of the focus group that had a time, a date and a time So that would have been your focus group day.
Okay, so just for clarity, we were sent out invitations for a focus group with a specific date to discuss the multipurpose center and our ideas. What?
Not just the multipurpose building, but the comprehensive. So in order to have the multipurpose building, you have to have your comprehensive of what you want to see overall throughout the town. From there, they can take that feedback and then put it in of what you would like to see for the multipurpose building.
Okay, yes, so I received that. I did receive that overall. It didn't specify multipurpose. When I was asking about the focus group, I thought I was just speaking in terms of that, but I did receive that.
So if you were not able to attend, there is a list of questions that you were sent as part of it. So you can fill that out and either email that back to me or to Mr. Ford. Or if you would like to be part of, still a virtual part of a focus group, we can look at rearranging some different times.
And just for timetable's sake, and each time you come up, we ask about it, just so that we can have touch bases or get a temperature check. With the focus group, in the overall view and how we would utilize a variety of things, including multipurpose center, if I don't respond, you will still get responses collectively, and you'll have results of that response, right?
Yes.
So when do I come back and touch base with you? Right now it's October. Do I touch base with you in December? What was the result of the focus group, and what is the report from that? And how do we get transparency?
So right now, there's several different focus groups because we don't want just one person's or one group's opinion.
Yes.
So we have anywhere from school system, we have anywhere from staff for town council, you know, nonprofit. That way we have a variety of what people want to see in Winterville. From there, McGill, they'll end up putting together the results. So once we finish the focus groups, which we should finish within the next 2 weeks, then that'll be the next step. So by next meeting, I should be able to have another update for you.
Last question.
Yes,
Thank you. Sorry to cut. Have we asked regular citizens what they want to see?
Yes, ma'am. So during the Winterville Watermelon Festival, during 2 days, we had giant boards basically of different pictures. You were able to walk around. I know several council were able to go put stickers, even if you're visitors or non-visitors. So everybody got a chance to put their input.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a little side note, Don, for you, in the announcements, you don't have to talk about coffee with the cops, movie in the park, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Friday night concert with Dakota Blue, and frat night, because that was all brought up in their things. So you can cross them out as far as your announcement, because they was made. So just cutting down your list a little bit, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good
Miss
evening,
Angie?
Mayor and Town Council. So as far as HR, I've been scheduling a lot of interviews. And now we have some new hires that have started. The office manager for the fire department, Alana Head, she started on 10/7. The equipment operator, Andrew Jones, started on 10/7. The utility pump maintenance mechanic, we had 2 vacancies. Anthony Smith will be starting on 10/18. Brandon Smith will be starting on 12/2, no relation. The part-time firefighter, we had 8 candidates selected. Most of them have started already on 10/7. Our customer service rep, she is starting 10/18, that's Tamika Stevens. Office manager for police, we have interviewed, have made a recommendation. Line technician, we have submitted a recommendation, an offer letter, so we're waiting for his response. Paramedic, we have interviewed and submitted a recommendation. And the meter and electric services supervisor, we interviewed 2 candidates and no recommendation at this time. And we have our annual Christmas dinner scheduled for Thursday, December the 4th at 5:30 to 8 o'clock. And I sent out an email for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Moore.
He's been waiting all day.
Yeah.
So just to add on what everybody else has already said, the crew that was deployed to Linville County came back this afternoon. I think that was 11 days altogether. They were in Banner Elk for the first half, 5 or 6 days, and then Linville after that. Answered calls, set up distribution points, passed out generators, fixed some vehicles, did a little bit of everything, but they did come back this afternoon, so we're glad that's done.
Glad to have him back,
Yes.
safe and sound.
Definitely, back, a little bit back to normal, so, thank you.
Thank you and your team for going to the western part to help out our neighbors. Okay, that's it for staff report. Next, we will have, oh, I forgot all about Evan. Evan, I'm sorry, Evan. Oh, he was like, darn.
I would have been
Don
okay if
ready
you'd
to
forgotten
go.
about
Don,
me.
yeah.
Don, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I cannot begin to tell you. Just minding my own business. Yep, all's well with inspections, trucking along. We had our first inspection for the new welding building at Pitt Community College last week. I think we've got another one scheduled for tomorrow, so they're coming along. We've got some other commercial stuff. A lot of the spaces over by Lowe's Foods are starting to fill up. When I say fill up, I don't actually mean businesses are open yet, but plans are coming together for all of those to be have occupants. Got a few other commercial spots around town, and then as far as residential goes, a lot of miscellaneous stuff here and there. Seen an uptick in pools, it seems like. And then Copper Creek, they are starting to wind that neighborhood down. I would expect that neighborhood to be pretty well done, if not completely done, by the end of this calendar year or beginning of next. Then we've got, of course, a number of plans for upcoming neighborhoods, and outside of that, just happy that grass is starting to slow down a little bit.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't cite Don for that. Okay. That pool he got in his backyard, that Cliff discovered. It's been draining.
He'll get me back now, and I got to do announcements.
All right.
And I'll try to leave off the ones you so noted.
Okay.
Board of Adjustment has been canceled tomorrow night due to lack of any business. One important one is that early voting will begin on Thursday, and it will run through November 2nd. It's not every day. It's every work day and most Saturdays, but it's only one Sunday. There's some posters around. If you'd like for me to send you one, just let me know. And it's also posted in the front. And I've got the TV working in the front lobby now again. And so it's scrolling around on that. Planning and Zoning Board will meet on Monday, the 21st. Recreation Advisory will meet on Tuesday, the 22nd. November agenda information and abstracts are due Wednesday, the 23rd. And that's because our November meeting's earlier, and I'll get to that here. Human Relations will meet on Thursday, the 24th. Agenda review is on Thursday, October 31st. And one I usually get given a hard time on, but just as a good reminder, daylight saving time ends on Sunday, November 3rd, and your clocks will fall back and you'll get that extra night of sleep. Your next town council meeting is Monday, November 4th, and that is due to Veterans Day, which you'll see is on November the 11th. And then also, general election will be on Tuesday, November 5th.
Thank you, Don, for the announcement.
My pleasure.
Next up, we're gonna have our reports from the council. We start with the town attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report myself. Be glad to answer any questions that the council has of me. It's been pointed out earlier, but also will indicate that you have a closed session night according to the statute indicated, but it's principally set up so the council can give advice to staff regarding the possible purchase of real estate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Smith.
Just want to say a thank you. I don't know if any of you are still here but for those citizens who have stepped up and are going to be serving on some of our advisory committees, we thank you for that. Very important role in our community. As always, thank you to all of our staff. Thank you to our first responders. As you heard Chief Moore say, we had a crew that was requested to go out west and serve in that disaster relief effort. So we're very proud of them. And thank you for everybody.
Councilwoman Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Appreciate you being here at our meeting and staying till the end. I appreciate those citizens who are on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, but any of those that have shown interest. And we have an amazing staff, and we truly appreciate the way that you keep our community growing and going, and especially those of you that deal with those numbers and those dollars.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Just like to echo Councilwoman Smith and Councilwoman Robinson in thanking our staff and our first responders, everyone that went to the western part of the state. It is a lot of devastation, but to go and help our neighbors, it just says a lot about us as people. We have to be human first. Also, thank you to everyone that is in the audience again for staying. Also, just wanted to say, I'm grateful that we were able to make the proclamation for Indigenous Peoples Day, because we want to make sure as a community that we are inclusive of everyone and embrace everyone. So I'm very thankful for that. And then also, last but not least, again, I just want to reiterate that early voting, for everybody that's here, everybody that's listening, everybody that can take it back to your neighbor, early voting does start October 17th. And your vote is connected to your voice. So a lot of times we say, or we hear people say that they don't feel heard, but this is a time that you can exercise your voice. Please, please come out and vote. Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hawkins.
Yes, I would like to say to all who have attended the meeting, who are still present, or who have gone home, that your presence is priceless to me.
Sorry.
I thank you.
No need to apologize.
Sorry about that, Councilwoman.
It's okay. Let me go back again. Your presence is very priceless to me. If not for you and your capacity, I would not be in my capacity. So I do not take you for granted one day at all. I would like to thank the staff as well for what you do and sitting through my conversation, because I'm here to speak on behalf of what I am here to speak on behalf of, and that is the town and the people. And I thank you for sitting through it and what you do each day. For me as a council and for me as a citizen as well, because I have a family here in Winterville, and the staff has helped me on several occasions in different capacities. So I want to tell you thank you. I would like to extend thanks to Chief Moore and his crew for going to Western North Carolina. That was very, very, very important to do, and coming from the town of Winterville. Town Manager Parker, I don't know if I should mention this at some time, or I'll mention it later in terms of our logos. But I did want to also ask about the all alert system to Town Manager Parker. What is the status?
Prepared for, in my report, which I'll give after Mr. Boyd, if that's okay.
Sure, sure. And I'll be looking forward to that, as well as I did reach out to Town Manager Parker and included Mayor, Town Council, Assistant Town Manager Bowers in terms of town-based transportation and efforts. I know we made a motion for Town Manager Parker to make efforts to see how, in fact, we could explore a variety of options for town-based transportation. And I think that Town Manager Parker is going to move forward on that. I did submit my suggestions. And that's it. And I am going to just mention that I have spoke in terms of trees and safety. And I know we talked about the storm and the hurricane and how it affects many. It does affect many here, and I'd like for us to continue to think about being proactive, either whether someone can afford to get their trees cut or not. I am, as a town council person, going to go ahead and solicit some tree companies here in Winterville to see what they can do, as well as churches. That is my report, and I would like to end by saying an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure, and echo also Dr. Harrell. Please go out and vote.
Thank you. Councilman Ward.
First of all, I would like to apologize to Councilwoman Hawkins. I didn't do that on purpose. That's the very first time I ever known it to speak like that.
That's okay.
If you had saw my eyes, I know that you probably say it looked like it was coming out. It was. I apologize. And to you also. I'd like to say I thank the staff for all that you do, every one of you. When we was talking to Chief William a few minutes ago, it appeared to me that we was placing him up higher than we do other staff, but I want to let you know, I do not. I respect each one of you. Each one of you do an excellent job for our citizen here in our town. Do you all agree with that? I do too. And also, I'd like to commend our concerned citizen tonight for standing tall, representing the ones that couldn't speak for themselves tonight on the behalf of the danger that we have on board in Mill Street. I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I thank this board for stepping up, and we're going to do all we can, see can we solve that issue.
Finish. Yeah, Council. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. First and foremost, I would like to thank council and staff for everything we've collectively had to work through over recent months with many projects, and we have many other projects coming up, so couldn't do it without the teamwork. Quick update on our town application with GoGov. As a matter of fact, Don and I had a update meeting with them today. The go live date has been pushed back to November 8th, just in an effort to make sure we get all of the training involved with our staff. And our website is scheduled to hopefully be done and ready for training of our staff the third week of this month, which I think is next week. So hopefully if all goes well there, then we should be going live with that, I would say 1st of November. I will definitely reach out to council should that change, but I think we are making good headway on all of those things. That's it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say a happy belated birthday again to Councilwoman Hawkins, and as well as myself, and as well as our attorney down on the end, and as well as Ms. Robinson. So we had a lot of laborers around here. Didn't know that, But so happy belated birthday to all of you all. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's very near and dear to my heart. With family members that have been through breast cancer, and my mom and my sisters. But understand this, males, we can get it too. So, get yourself checked as well. Just hug somebody, love on somebody this month, and let them know that you care. As Terry stated, we've been through a lot, and I just want to publicly thank our council for what they did collectively. All decisions are not easy decisions, but I think we try and make the best decisions for the town. And so, I want to say thank you. And I'm not going to belabor anyone, because I know we got a closed session and we've been here for a while, but that's the end of my conversation. Can I get a motion to go in closed session?
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Moy, second by Councilwoman Hawkins to go in closed session. Will you please vote on your apparatus?
But they can't say a word.
You had Siri talking to you.
Councilwoman, can you hit your? Thank you.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Right, that was funny to me.
That's the good water.
Very.